What's going on, everybody? Spunky Nice 91 coming guys with another video. So the 2021 NFL Draft is officially behind us, and the Eagles, just like all the other teams in the league, are now signing undrafted rookies to their roster. They do this every year. Every team does this every year. The Eagles signed 7 players to their roster. I'm going to name all 7 of those players, and then I'm going to break down their stats and what they did at college. So with that said, let's go ahead and get started here. The 7 players that the Eagles undrafted rookies the Eagles signed to their roster. First off was Trayvon Grimes, wide receiver, Florida. Jamie Newman, quarterback, Georgia. Kayoy Owaski, offensive tackle, Buffalo. Jaquan Bailey, defensive end, Iowa State. Jahaman Osborne, wide receiver, Texas A&M. Harry Sider, center, Indiana. And Jack Stowe, tight end, Nebraska. Jamie Newman first played his college ball at Wake Forest. Then he transferred over to Georgia. Jamie Newman, during his college career, played at 19 games. He completed 306 passes. He attempted 506 passes. He had a 60.5 passing percentage. He had 35 passing touchdowns, 16 interceptions. He even ran the ball for 245 times, 826 yards, averaging 3.4 yards a carry, and he had 10 rushing touchdowns. He opted out the 2020 college football season due to the COVID-19 pandemic, which of course impacted his draft stock. You know, had he played that season, I think he would have definitely have been a drafted player. But because he opted out, that definitely had an impact on why he went undrafted in the 2021 draft. Moving down, you have Trayvon Grimes. During his college career, he had 100 receptions, 1,464 yards receiving, 14 touchdowns. He opted out the 2020 Cotton Bowl Classic to prepare for the 2021 NFL Draft. You know, that right there definitely had a impact as well on him. Not playing in the Cotton Bowl Classic. Him opted out, of course, had an impact on him going undrafted. Jaquan Bailey, defensive end, Iowa State. During his college career, he had 149 tackles. He had 81 assists. He had 25.5 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, and 2 fumble recoveries. Jahaman Osborne played in 34 games during his college career at Texas A&M. He had 147 receptions, 1,818 yards receiving, and 8 touchdowns. And the final player on this list that I'm going over his numbers, Jack Stowe, tight end from Nebraska. He had 61 receptions, 657 yards, and 6 touchdowns. So as you can see, looking at some of these guys, their numbers, of course, it's not surprising that a lot of them did not go drafted. Many of them have many of them have numbers that, it's not a whole lot for a lot of scouts to judge off of. So it's not surprising that a lot of these guys went undrafted. But they're now part of the Eagles. We'll see what happens with these guys. Some of them are going to come in and be practice squad guys. There's a possibility that one of them may surprise you and make the roster, but I'm not expecting any of them to make the roster. Now they do get signed. I expect maybe 1 or 2 of these guys could be on the Eagles practice squad. But Jamie Newman and Trayvon Grimes in particular, those 2 guys would be 2 guys that I would personally be keeping my eyes on. I'll be keeping my eyes on both of those guys doing the off-season workouts, training camp, because I think both of those guys could be secret hidden gems out of this bunch. 7 players, like I said, the Eagles have signed. They're in the beginning process of signing undrafted rookies. So I expect more guys to be signed, undrafted rookies to be signed as the week goes on. But to these guys for now, man, congratulations to all you guys. Come on in, work hard, and bust your butt, and that's all you can do, man. When you're undrafted, you have a chip on your shoulder, and you have to go out there and prove yourself. Because when you're undrafted, they're not really looking at you to make a big impact in the league. But we have seen guys in the past who went undrafted and they were able to prove themselves and actually make a name for themselves in the NFL. Tony Romo, former quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys, is just one of those players. So you just never know, man. You just never know. I think Jamie Newman in particular, I think that guy right there could be a guy that could possibly convert over to wide receiver, maybe. Just like Greg Ward did, it became a pretty good player for us, a pretty good wide receiver for us. I think Jamie Newman could potentially be one of those players that could, potentially switch over to wide receiver and be effective for the Eagles that way. If he let's say if he somehow makes the practice squad and then the roster, he could be somebody that I could out of this bunch here, he's one of those guys I could see potentially being a shocker, a surprise to a lot of people, and possibly making the roster down the road. Trayvon Grimes, like I said, another guy that I keep an eye on. He only had 100 receptions during his college career, but his 14 touchdowns and 1,464 yards, there could potentially be something there that the Eagles could work with. But just like Jamie Newman, him opting out of the Cotton Bowl and Jamie Newman opting out the 2020 season, those two things were what impacted their they impacted them not being drafted. So we'll see what those guys do. Jaquan Bailey, 149 tackles, 81 assists, 25.5 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries. Jaquan Bailey is one of those guys that could be a solid depth piece. Eagles, of course, added 2. They added actually 3 defensive ends, I believe, in this year's draft. The Eagles were very, very busy when it came to the defensive line during this draft. So Jaquan Bailey could be a solid depth piece for the Eagles. He could be potentially a practice squad guy. Who knows? It all depends on what he does when he comes in. Jahaman Osborne, for 147 receptions in college, 1,818 yards, 8 touchdowns. Could potentially be another sleeper guy that could surprise us as well and actually make the practice squad, and who knows what else down the road. Jack Stoll, tight end. His numbers are, out of all these guys, his numbers are the least impressive. 61 receptions, 657 yards, 6 touchdowns. Being realistic, I don't see this guy right here making the roster. But who knows? Who knows? That's why, like I said, these guys have a chip on their shoulder, and they need to use that, that chip on their shoulder to go out there and prove themselves, because they are unproven. They got a lot to prove when it comes to the pros. A lot of these guys that are undrafted rookies, they don't make it in the NFL. They come in, get signed, and then they're out of the league within a year or two if they're lucky. So, it's the same thing every year. You sign these guys, and 95% of them don't pan out. But who knows, man? Maybe amongst this bunch of guys here, 7 guys here, maybe among these guys, there could be a hidden gem there. I go back to Greg Ward, man. Greg Ward was one of those hidden gems for us, man. He turned out to be a pretty good player for us. So who knows? Potentially we could be looking at a hidden gem here that could contribute to help this team out a lot in the future. But for right now, man, congratulations to all these guys. Making it to the pros is just getting signed by a pro team, even if it's only temporarily. That is an accomplishment. So just congratulations to all 7 of these guys just for getting signed. Like I said, I'm expecting more signings to happen as the week goes on. But congratulations to these guys. Come in, work hard, prove yourself, because obviously you have a lot to prove anyway. Come in and prove yourself, and we'll see what happens. Now, those players again is Devon Grimes, wide receiver, Florida. Jamie Newman, quarterback, Georgia. K.O. Awaski, offensive tackle, Buffalo. Jaquan Bailey, defensive end, Iowa State. Jahaman Osborne, wide receiver, Texas A&M. Harry Sider, center, Indiana. Jack Stoll, tight end, Nebraska. Again, congratulations to these guys. We'll see what happens from here on out. Maybe, like I said, maybe potentially one of these guys could turn out to be a gem for the Eagles. We shall see. But as always, go Birds. When more news about the Eagles come out, of course, you guys know I'll be on here to report to you guys. But as always, go Birds. Spunky Nights 91's out of here. Fly, Eagle, fly. Congratulations to all 7 of you guys. Peace.